That's good.
Okay.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Double Dutch. You already know what it is. My name is Christian.
Angie.
Dajin.
I'm Ben.
And if you notice,
Sam.
there's an empty spot. Pour one out for where's Sam? Where is he at? What's he doing? Let's make a wild story. What's he doing right now?
He got taken by an ostrich. He's a birder. He's a birder, and he was chasing this ostrich. Cut the part about making up a story.
All right.
He was taking a picture of this ostrich, and he was chasing it. And he chased it into the Amazon forest, and he stuck it there.
Why is the ostrich
all the way down the road?
That's what he was wondering. He didn't know it was
the ostrich on the boat.
It's so loud. Oh my gosh, this volume's so loud. He followed the ostrich on the boat. Also, why is an ostrich running from him? I feel like it could pack him up pretty easily. No? You don't think an ostrich?
He's pretty scary.
Sam?
He has a camera and he's chasing it.
Yeah.
I'd run.
Oh, okay. But without the camera, the ostrich would square up. Okay, fair. All right. So, this is super simple. Super simple, would you rather. I didn't spend 5 hours thinking about this. So, here we go. Would y'all rather never be able to bend any joint in your body, right? Or would you rather have every sense inverted? Okay, now look.
Wait, what?
Now look. Hear me out, okay? So you can't bend anything like your elbows, your knees, anything like that. Or, yeah, I know it's kind of crazy. Right? Or the senses, so for example, everything that looks light to you appears dark, right? When you see it through your eyes, right? And everything that looks dark appears light.
I thought you meant.
And then taste, so everything that's salty tastes sweet, everything that's bitter tastes, all of these things are very, it just is all, things that smell really good to you, smell awful, smell rotten. So everything is just complete, everything, things that feel hot or cold. It's everything is just completely, or you're unable to bend any of the joints that should be able to bend in your body.
When you first said inverted, I thought you meant every time I see something, it sees me instead. And I was like, what is he about to say? How does that work?
It's just everything is flipped. So, yeah. Which, it could be really good or really bad at the same time. But yeah. So
it sees me.
It sees
and then
every time
instead of you
see
tasting something,
it tastes you.
Oh man. No.
That one.
You're going that one?
Oh my gosh.
Jinx. I want my senses.
Okay. So
you do
the no bending?
Stand up. You can't sit right now.
I know. I thought about it, especially because it just came from Pilates class, and I was like, that's literally Pilates. But I feel like just life would be terrible. Just trying to eat something. I actually burning yourself too.
Yeah.
Because you can't feel it.
Exactly.
It's a hazard.
Now, what does touch feel like?
Well,
how is that inverted?
So it's the same thing, right? Where if something feels really smooth, normally it would feel rough. So if you buy an aloe shirt, right, and you're feeling this it's so soft, it would feel a little bit like sandpaper.
So I can buy cheap clothing and be okay.
That's true.
You
Superpower.
You could do that.
Also, I just realized you wouldn't be able to drive.
Yeah. Or
if you couldn't bend your...
Oh, if you can't bend,
you can't drive.
And joints includes fingers, right?
I was thinking more of the hinging joints, like these, because I don't know if you would call these hinging joints. Or would these? Maybe. Yes. I don't know. But I'm thinking knees and elbows. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. You should be able to still, you can look around and you can, because then you couldn't grab anything,
wrist?
Which would be crazy. I'll let wrist. Yeah, we'll let it happen. We'll let it happen.
How do you use the bathroom?
That's for you to figure out, bro. It's a fun
Okay,
little journey for you
I
to
changed my answer.
Okay.
Standing.
Standing?
Yeah.
I would pick the senses one. There's too many things in this life to enjoy that require my knees, man. Pause. But I ain't mean it like that. But yeah. But I also feel like it wouldn't be that bad too, especially bro, this food would still be good technically.
It would just be really sweet.
It would
It would
taste,
be
yeah. I was gonna say like it would just taste really sweet.
That's
But-
like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything would taste super sweet, pretty much.
But then I would just have to eat sweet stuff.
Yeah,
and it
you
would
would
be
be
bad
getting
for
sweet
me.
stuff all
Yeah.
the time.
Exactly. Oh, that would do a number on your
Maybe,
teeth, bro.
but actually, then I would eat dessert last for once.
What do you mean?
Because I usually order
She
cake
always
first,
orders dessert
Ah.
first in a
Mm.
restaurant.
but then I'd be normal.
So you
I'm
would
sorry.
just be a normal person
No.
with your senses
You'd
inverted.
just be a well-adjusted adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
It's crazy.
Ben, what'd you say?
I think I'll do the joints one actually.
You can't play
Because
basketball.
No more hooping, bro.
Well, I do the
The Jokic shot.
yeah, I do the straight arm. But I was thinking about hearing, and like everything would be super loud,
Mm.
right? Because even if somebody whispers in your ear, it'd be like deafening.
That'd be
Well, if someone is normally speaking,
Uh huh.
it
Then
would
it's-
just be normal.
Yeah,
Because
it's not
the
like-
True.
worst.
That's true.
but that
But if they whisper,
Concerts
You
are
you
Or
can't go to a
worse.
library. You can't go to a library ever.
Libraries would be your biggest
Yeah.
off, bro. That'd be crazy. But you could easily go to like a concert, like ACL or something, and like it would still sound really quiet to you, but like at least your ears
couldn't
would be
even
like
hear
blown
it.
out. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
probably not.
I mean, they still would. You still feel the effects, like your
Yeah.
eardrums could still blow out.
They still could, but you wouldn't know it until they do, you know, which would be kind of nice leading up to that moment.
Wait,
But, yeah.
does that mean if someone's really ugly, you would see them?
Mhm.
That's
no,
rude.
No, it works.
no.
When you see
Bro.
somebody that's really ugly, there's a movie about that.
Shallow Hal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shallow
I was
Hal.
gonna say that.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't,
Yeah.
isn't there another one?
Shallow
Oh
Hal
no,
too.
there's one where she sees herself
Ugly
as really
Betty?
hot.
Oh.
Oh,
I think I'm pretty or something
Yeah.
like that.
I feel pretty. I feel
I
pretty.
feel pretty.
Huh.
Yeah.
Never seen
Wouldn't
it.
know it. Wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
Final answers.
Oh, I'm doing senses easy.
This is hard now.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do the arms.
Joints.
Joints.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the joints.
Senses.
Yeah.
Joints.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. Kind of nice.
Split.
Mhm.
That's kind of nice.
Split decision. You decide.
What would you do?
That's insane. All right, what we
All
got?
right, let's hop right in.
Mhm.
So for this episode, we're gonna talk a lot about relationships and what we think about them. So since we have 2 guys and 2 girls, this should be
Mhm.
interesting. So the first question I have for us is, what do you think makes a person husband or wife material?
Wow. Y'all being.
We don't know anything about this.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We're just guessing.
Y'all are the only people I think that can speak from experience on this, so I feel like.
Mhm.
Well, have you guys ever, like, let's say you met someone and you were like, I don't know if this is a guy thing or a girl thing, but I've heard a lot of guys say that, like, they see someone and they put them in, like, buckets of, like, oh, I'm gonna
Wifey
date them.
material.
Yeah, or, like, even in, what is it called, Love Island,
Mhm.
with Paige and Jax, every single guy was, like, Paige's wifey material.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think they just like looked at her and they like knew how she was and they're like, she's a wife material, and then everyone else was like, oh, I date her, or like girlfriend material.
I
But-
think- I don't want to speak for guys, but when like they say that, don't they mean like she's pretty, like she's beautiful, but she isn't like super hot that it's just like wanna sleep with her type. And then you also notice that like those characteristics of like caring and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I feel like I have a different approach. So I don't. Is that
You go first.
Speak for me.
no? I think like personally for me, like, if I'm going to like put someone in the girlfriend bucket,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Candidate
They're
for marriage.
15
yeah,
out
it's
of
like
10.
they're overwhelmingly like likely going to be like in the wife bucket as
Yeah.
well. Like I'm not gonna be
I'm
like,
with you.
you know.
Yep.
Like I'm not gonna be in like a relationship with someone that I don't see eventually down the line this is gonna turn into potential like marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't separate like so niche into like girlfriend, fiance, wife. It's like nah, bro. If you're girlfriend, hopefully you transition to fiance then wife. You know. kind of stuff like that.
You've never dated someone when you were like younger, where you were like dating them and you really, really like them, but you would look at like certain characteristics, and this might be more so when we were younger since we are like more immature, but like you are like, oh, like they're not very responsible, or like, oh, I don't know if they would be good at like taking care of kids. Like, you never dated anyone where you were just kind of like,
I don't think I was like that introspective or emotionally intelligent at that age to be like, this is probably not a quality trait that I would want in a husband.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
I wasn't thinking that way.
Interesting.
Dude,
I think it's because I'm very like feelings oriented. So like if I really just like someone a lot, I'll like want to date them if I like them a lot. But then sometimes it's like,
then you make your decision. So you'd like get in a relationship and then make the decision about,
oh no,
like this person could be husband material.
I don't know, it's hard because I feel like I wouldn't know until I date them for a while. Because like, let's say that it's like a 3 month, like we were talking and then we became official. After 3 months, I feel like there are certain experiences you have to go through to know the person really well.
Yeah.
That like only time can solve for.
That's true.
But I don't know. I feel like for me, it's like I really, really like them, but then there's like things like, oh, they aren't, like, let's say they aren't good with kids or something, or they don't have like, they have like some immature qualities, or they are addicted to vaping or something like that.
Who are you looking at?
Yeah. It's very specific.
I'm looking at the empty space. But I think like I would have to date someone first and then see like how they are as a boyfriend to be like, oh, they're husband material. Unless it's someone like famous or something, and you're like, oh, like you like watch them on reality shows and you see how they act and you're like, oh, that's husband material, but that's like not actually, you know.
No. Yeah. No. Also, yeah, going back to what you were saying about like when you were younger, like, bro, I was in UIL spelling in high school. You think I was dating people out here? Like,
Get it?
no, I'm serious. Like, bro, I was.
You can spell.
Spell restaurant right now.
You don't. Hey, don't ask
test
questions.
it. Don't
Listen,
test it.
No, receipt.
y'all really don't.
That's what
y'all
got me.
really
That's
don't
what
think I
got me
got it
into
like that.
Receipt.
They use
The
the
hardest one.
I have to see it all the time. Spell
That's
receipt
crazy.
right now.
You really don't think I can spell receipt?
Go.
What do
Why
I get for spelling
Why
correctly?
are you
I feel like
stalling?
I need to no.
If you
Look,
get
my
it
time
wrong,
is
you get
valuable.
kicked off the pod.
What if I get it right though? Because I will.
You continue on the pod.
Q. No, kidding.
Wrong!
RECEIPT, bro. Come on, don't do me like this. Don't do me like this. Restaurant,
Are you
bro.
typing?
Y'all really don't really-
I have to see it.
Y'all really don't.
Yeah.
She put
Yeah, I know
T
it's
receipt.
correct. Hey, restaurant. How does restaurant get y'all?
Restaurant.
Restaurant, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard, man.
That one is actually hard.
Yeah.
Um,
But more in depth to your question about like what makes someone like wife material or husband. I mean, I can only speak for what makes someone like wife material in my eyes. I think it's going to depend on a lot of things for a lot of different people. But the baseline level thing that I look for is kind of like 3 different buckets, like spiritual. A lot of people don't really care about that one. Fine. Social, and then like personal, right? And so with like the personal one, I'm like, are you fit? Like, are you chasing like some sort of fitness goal? At least you don't have to be like a model, but I'm just like, do you care about all these things? Personal as well, like with your career or with any like ambition you have in work. Like, is there something there that drives you to kind of like develop these skills that you think you've been given to like contribute to the world around you? And that kind of bleeds a little bit into social as well. Like, can I leave you alone for 5 minutes at like a party and like you're not, and you're not gonna implode, right? Like that's another, right? It's like all these little things where it's like these things kind of have to like align with how I live life now and currently, to where it's like if we go together somewhere, it's not going to be tension all the time about like, well, when we step into a room, you're oriented this way, I'm oriented this way, and as great as we are individually, sometimes it just doesn't work. So it's like all these little things. It's like a bunch of little things, but those buckets are like big, where it's like the personal, social, and spiritual side. So that's
That's good.
Yeah.
I feel like, I wonder if this is the same for you or different,
Mm.
but I think I recently realized that like for husband material, I look at people, like guys who know how to do things.
Mhm. Mm.
Like, they know how to fix things, they know, like, they're just handy,
Mhm.
because I it's, like, so much comfort, because
Mhm.
I think it's, like, since I am first generation and I had to, like, do a lot of things, I'm, like, tired.
Mhm.
I just want someone who can take care of me.
Yeah.
So I think, like, it's really, really, like, it makes you feel safe, or me feel safe,
Yeah.
when I'm, like, oh, I can go camping, and they already, like, know how to, like, do things, and they already have it prepared.
Mhm.
Or like my smoke alarm keeps beeping
They've-
and they can like fix it. Like,
I feel like we're the same in that way. Like, I want to be able to like shut my brain off
yeah.
when we go.
I just
Like,
want
I
a
don't want to
baby.
have to like plan these things. And you're right. I never thought about that. That it's like very first generation
Yeah.
because like I would have to do everything. I would have to change the oil in my car, change the tires, like. If there was a flat, like, on the highway, I would just get out and go change it myself. Like, put together all the furniture. Like, literally, someone's, like, knocking on the door. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I gotta go, like, downstairs and see who it is with the bat. Like, we had to do it all ourselves.
Mhm.
And so I feel like when you get older, you're at that point where you're just like, all right, like,
Mhm.
I was in a state of, like, fight or flight, but we were in a state of, like, fight for so long that it's like, all right, I want to be like taken care of, and I don't want to use my brain.
We want to be baby.
Pretty much.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
so that sort of characterization of like someone being husband material means like when you know you will be as taken care of, as, I guess as like you would take care of them. Is that kind of like that mutual sort of like caretaking?
Yeah.
Or is it like you want them to be even more than you are? Like,
Well,
Well, they
I
just
think
don't want to do it anymore. Right?
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So you want them to like completely take the
No,
load?
I mean,
or, like,
I do all those things
Yeah.
still.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah,
different
that's
because
fair.
I think like you and I are similar in that like we take care of them other ways. Like, oh gosh, this is gonna sound so traditional in general.
Clip coming.
But I feel like
Let it fly.
well, this is also
Okay.
like a cultural thing. But I mean, my love language is like cooking for people and stuff. So it's just like taking care of them that way and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just like in terms of like handy stuff, like I don't even know
I
what
know what
else
you're
to
talking about.
how to
Mhm.
explain it. But it's just like, for example, if for some reason my car is being weird, I would love if I didn't have to fucking fix it myself.
Yeah.
Or like figure
Yeah.
out what it
Mhm.
is, you know? Like it's not even that we can't do it. I just don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're just not doing anything.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
we're doing all of the other stuff that
yeah.
Yeah.
it's more so like nurturing,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
I think I agree with a lot of that. I feel like for me, and I don't know if this is the same for you, but for me, like, I think when we were first starting to date too, like, Ben and I told him, like, I wanted to be courted and, like, you're gonna have to, like, pretty much pay for most of the stuff. And I felt like
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
I did that because, like, I want to be with someone who's, like, self-sacrificing and very giving and wouldn't, like, has all of those, like, traits already in them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to cause issues later on. Because at the end of the day, like, I know what I bring to the table and I know how ambitious I am. And, like I make a good amount of money. Like, I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
I can do all those things myself. So if I'm bringing somebody else into the equation, I need you to be able to provide all those things that I'm already providing for myself. Like, I don't, in a sense, like, need you for those things, but I want you to be able to support me in that way, basically. And it's not even where it's like I'm fully relying on that person and I'm not gonna, like, chip in. I just appreciate those traits of that person, which he had.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, like, I know he's like that. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to work hard and I'm still going to put in, like, my effort there. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I actually agree a lot because I think I'm the same way. but it's also because I know that I wouldn't mind paying for it. Like,
Yeah, I
like
could
money.
very easily just spend on somebody. So I need you to have those traits because
I don't want money to be like a weird, awkward situation at all, ever. So it's like when my friends are like, if I'm like buying them food and stuff, like obviously like we'll just like Venmo and stuff, but like I won't be like to the freaking cent or something. Like if it's like a couple dollars, I'll just be like whatever. Like I don't want it to be this awkward like, oh, he paid for this, so I'm gonna pay for this, and he paid for, like I don't like want it to be any sort of like weird thing, because I feel like that's also a cultural thing also, because it's like we just I just realized how much this is like when I found out that people don't do this, like I feel like Asians in particular, and my cousin actually just made like a TikTok about this, but when we're like, me and my cousins are like seeing who pays, I never pay because I'm the youngest, but when my sister and my cousin are paying over the check, they will like be embarrassingly like arguing, and they're like, let's just not do that. Like we have come to we're like pretty Americanized, so like now we're like, okay, let's just not do that little show and just pay for our own stuff, because it's just like, it's weird. Like why were we wired to like literally like, no, seriously, let me pay, please. Like back and forth for like 20 minutes. But it's just like, I don't want that at all. Like, and I do like when I think they should pay for a little bit more. But at the beginning, I think they should pay for most of it, and then like it becomes even.
It's mainly out. Well, I just want to see, like, I wanted to see if they had that, like, if he had that trait. Like, I just wanted to see that, like, hey, at the end of the day, like, you're gonna be able to provide. If I lose my job, like, I don't want us to be screwed. I want you to, like, be in the place where it's, like, you can step up and you can, like, take care of things, and I know you can provide for me. Like, I don't have to work. But, like I said, I'm very ambitious and I want to work, so it's, like, it's not that I need that, but me personally, that's what I like in, like, a partner. I want them to be a provider. I want them to be a protector. I want to feel safe. And those are, like, really valuable traits for me.
And before you...
I know he's about to say...
Y'all have no idea. Y'all have no idea.
I think also another character trait, though, for me, it's not so much as, like, the provider thing. It is a little bit, but it's not so much that, but it's more so, like, I want them not to care about that, like, at all. Like, I don't want them to, like, be counting in the back of their head, like, oh, I pay so much for this stuff. Like, I don't want it to be
exactly. That's
head.
where the self-sacrificing, like, very giving trait comes in. They're not going to be thinking that way because that's not who they are versus another person. Like, they would have such an issue with paying for everything up front during the courting process. The person that does care would have an issue with it. But then as soon as, like, we finish that part, like, we split everything, to be honest. We split everything 50-50. Like, and, I mean, we're not going to go too much into our finances.
Break out our
rocket
money.
But, I mean, that's how it was at first. And at the end of the day, like, there's some things where he's like, oh, just let me pay for this. Like, and that's not a big deal to him. He wants to. That's a part of, like, his trait that I really admire. He's like, no, I got this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Even though
I think that, like, on both sides of the dating equation or marriage, wherever you are, if you love this person, bless you. Don't let it happen again.
Start over. That's something like that.
This is exactly what you do. I'm just kidding.
So on both sides of the dating equation, or if you're married or whatever, like, you and your significant other should feel so strongly towards each other that it's like, I want to give them the world, right? Like, both of y'all should feel that way, right? And I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, like, girls aren't supposed to. And I'm like, but I'm not saying you need to give it in the same way that, like, maybe the other person would give it to you. But, like, you should feel so, proud and close and connected to this person that it's just like, you're not worried so much about what you're receiving, but you're more concerned about, like, what can I give to them, right? And, like, that should be kind of like this mutually, like, beneficial sort of, like, giving of yourself. So where like sometimes with the man, if it's like a more traditional setting or whatnot, like the man is paying for everything. He's doing like a lot, and he's like doing like all of the financial covering. But then sometimes like the woman would be, you know, like traditionally speaking.
What is
I'm
she
not
doing?
saying, well, hey, listen, look. Traditionally speaking, you know, she's chefing it up, and she's, you know, like taking care of like the house, you know, like all. But it's like, yeah, making her own soap and whatnot, like. So, like it's just like it looks different, but I think sometimes like the position that I hear a lot of women come from, not y'all, because I think you explained it very well. Where you're like, I can do this for myself, and I just want to know that like. We can be greater together than we would be just like individually. That like that's very different. But I think a lot of women like talk about it as like, I just want an easy life. And that's where I'm like, I'm not here to really give someone an easy life. I want like our lives to become much more rich, right? And I don't necessarily think that's synonymous with easy.
Yeah.
And so that's where like I come in and I'm like when I'm in a relationship, like I remember my first girlfriend, I like every time we went out somewhere I was like, I love you. I do not want you to pay for anything. Like, I just this is how I show love. Like, let me do it. And I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like, no, I'm not going to do nothing. But then also, like, whenever in my most recent relationship, like, she would be like, please let me pay for something. Like, please, like, I want, and like the few times I allowed it to happen, you know, like, it was so, but like, I was like, that warms my heart. Like, I love the fact that you like, you know.
She's like fighting to do.
Yeah, she's fighting and she's just like, I know this means a lot to you. You do this all the time for me. Like, I just, you know, let me reciprocate. And she would if I would have let her more, but it's like, no, this is so big. I want, so I don't know, like, that's all I'm saying. It's like, I want both of that to be there, where it's like, I give because I'm like, I am so intrinsically interested in making, like, your life much more rich, but also at the same time, it's like, I also want to feel like I'm appreciated for the effort that, like, I put into that.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's, I think that's fair. That's normal.
I feel like that gets left out sometimes, but...
Wait, so... I've heard this term, but I don't know if any of y'all know it, but do you know the concept of a 50-50 man? Is that what it's called? A 50-50 man?
Yeah, sprinkle.
Sprinkle,
Yeah.
sprinkle.
What a transition. What a transition.
Do you know it? Can you explain what the concept of the 50-50 man is?
I can't explain the concept of like a
What's the debate?
50-50 man per se, but I can speak to the concept of Shira 7 and her sprinkle
What is her
movement.
philosophy? What is the summary of her philosophy?
Okay. So a summary of her philosophy of Shira 7, sprinkle queen, is that men should be providers, and any guy who is not willing to be a full-on provider, and that like most of what she talks about is financially, then he's a dusty. If he's not a dusty, if he's like not trying to get to that stage to be a provider and not interested and wants to kind of go 50-50, then he's a dusty.
That's crazy.
Like,
that's crazy.
She basically really speaks to like the traditional roles, and that the man is supposed to be like self-sacrificing, entirely giving, and like the weight of providing for the family falls on him. Right. And so she says like any man, I think she says 25 and above, if you don't 30. Want to, if you aren't actively trying to get to that place, or you're choosing not to, then you're dusty.
You know what's interesting?
Crazy. And then she ends everything with sprinkle.
I actually feel like a lot of guys that I've met are always like trying to get there, but they're like, they have it in their head that they have to be there first before they start dating anyone seriously. Like they're like,
well, that's a part of her philosophy
that's
too.
Interesting.
She's like, if you can't afford me as a woman, then you shouldn't be dating me.
I don't know if I agree with that exactly.
Sorry, the camera cut. Resume.
So I was saying that I don't entirely agree with they have to be there at the point where they can afford to date me. If they have like literally like $10 in their bank account, maybe not. But if they're like actively trying to be the person or like the provider mindset, I don't think that because I feel like a lot of guys that I met, they were like, I have to be in a position to buy a house. I have to be able to pay for everything. Like, I have to have a bunch of money saved up. Like, a lot of them felt like they weren't in a place yet to be, like, super serious and to, like, they didn't feel confident with themselves. Like, they...
Were those guys specifically looking for a more traditional wife?
Yeah.
Then that would make sense
Yeah.
for them to feel that pressure.
Yeah.
If that's what they were looking for, because they knew that whoever their wife was, her expectations are going to be that I want a house, I want you to provide. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, I just don't like how they're like, I have to have that right now. Like, they were like, I had guys that felt self-conscious because they weren't in a position to buy a house. And I get that, but it's like, I for me, what makes me mad about that is like, what makes you think that you can choose when you find the right person? That like, oh, it doesn't work that way. Like, it makes me mad when they're like, oh, I'm gonna do all this and then I'll find my wife. Like, it doesn't happen like that. You can't just choose. Like, and so that's where I think the taxi cab theory or whatever, where they're like, oh, guys, when they're ready, they just like turn on a light and the first person they see.
I've
I've never heard
this.
this.
Yes.
They got so many different
It's
I'll
actually like pretty like
So
accurate.
the taxi cab theory, and I might mess this up, but it's essentially like, you know how taxis, when they have their light on, that's when they can pick people up. That like, it's like the first person that they see. But when they don't have their light on, it's like really hard to get them. Like, they won't, like, you have to like wave them down, flag them down, like chase them down. But like when they have the light on, they'll take anybody because they're like ready and willing. So the taxi cab theory, not anybody,
Everybody in.
but like
Matter of fact,
any girl. But it's essentially like the taxi cab theory is like that a guy, when they feel like they're ready, whether that be like they have a house or they're financially stable, then, and they start looking, they will find like the first girl that they like, not like they probably have standards, but like it's a lot different than like what it was when they weren't ready, because when they weren't ready, they were very, very picky. So like, even those girls that they said no to before, they would like definitely say yes to now when they're ready.
It's very common with older guys.
I could see that.
Like, 35.
Like 35,
those,
right, 35 plus.
You gotta turn the light on.
Because then you're like, alright.
Unless you're Leo DiCap, you gotta put it
Well,
on.
I feel like it's honestly those like finance bros that are like, that are like, oh, I can get any girl, and they're like a player, and they like think that they can get any girl all the time,
And then they can.
and then it's like they wait too long, and all the good ones are taken, and they just like
Bye,
all of a
love.
sudden they like settle a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Dang. That's
Wait,
brutal.
going back to
Wait.
sprinkle.
Sprinkle. All right. On the flip side of that,
Let's
though.
hear what Christian gotta say.
All right. In response to the sprinkle movement, the soft guy era has launched.
Has awoken.
It has awoken. And look, there are aspects of this that I do appreciate. And I'm not an advocate. I'm not an ambassador for the soft guy.
he's
I
the
don't.
leader.
No, I'm not.
He's the
He
founder.
is Jalen.
No.
He is Kim Jong-un.
You said I'm what?
You're Kim Jong-un of the soft guy. I can say that. I can say
She has the
that.
pass. She has the
I
pass.
don't know if you can say
I have
that.
She has the
Not-
pass.
Say that.
She has the
My
pass.
grandfather, I recently found out that my grandfather went back to try to get, dude.
Hey, they're gonna. He's gonna
Hey,
see
they're
it.
watching.
I'm not in North Korea, they can't get me.
He's waiting.
Okay.
It's my cousin. Go.
He's my cousin.
That's crazy.
What?
So I'm not an ambassador. I'm not trying to say I believe in this, but there are aspects of it that I'm like, just low key as a human being who has base desires and experiences. So, for example, a lot of women, I think, like, they get to enjoy the benefits of either the validation or like the adoration or like whatever that comes from being pursued mainly by a guy. And I know that there's downsides to that as well. Like, a lot of women, like, get love bombed, and they get, like a whole bunch of different things happen that are regrettable because a guy just wants one thing from them, or they only want a certain level of connection or whatever, right? And so it's not to say that it's all rainbows and roses, but it is kind of nice sometimes. Like, you get drinks bought for you sometimes, you get gifts, and if you got like a sugar daddy situation or whatnot, like, that's kind of minus the sugar.
Sugar mama.
Oh, minus the sugar for sure.
Minus the sugar.
For sure.
Yes, I'm looking for a mother. No.
He's looking for a mother in finance.
no. So that aspect of kind of just being a woman can be nice, right? Just to like be given things and your existence validated just by nature of being yourself, right? Can be nice. Can be nice. Like I said, comes with drawbacks. But I think in the soft guy era, soft guy movement, men have tapped into this idea and this insight that there are certain women who would be willing to provide them with some of these things that women also get, right? So, like, if she wants to pay for my dinner, like, who am I to be like, no, that's my job? It's like, hey, this is the 21st century, man. Like, you are strong, independent, liberated, educated, yes, and empowered. Like, go ahead. Like, if you want to, yes, like if you want to spend your hard-earned money on a guy like me, like, who am I to stop you? Like, as a man who supports women and their decisions, if that's a decision you want to make, obviously I'm gonna get behind that, right? Obviously. So it's just like it's nice, especially because I think a lot of people think about it as like men need to do all the work and whatnot, but it's like some of these things are just basic level like human needs where it's like I just want someone to tell me I'm cute every once in a while, you know? I want someone to like, you know, maybe I'm driving on a 14-hour road trip and I'm like, hey, can you drive 2 hours of this leg? Like
you
2 hours?
Want to be the little spoon?
I would love. You don't understand. You don't
That's
understand.
really why you want a 5.
That's why, that's why he wants a 6.
Look,
He wants
y'all
to be cuddled.
I understand. Just and I had this conversation with someone recently. I'm like, you don't like. I understand that I will almost always be Big Spoon. That's the burden that I've been given.
The burden.
It is. It's the cross I have to bear. Someone has to, right? Yeah. And I didn't choose it. It chose me, and I dutifully, engage in my obligation. But the thing that sucks, though, is like, there's a part of me that's like, on a really bad day, like someday you just want to, like, you just.
Bro, have you tried asking?
Asking?
Crazy concept.
I don't ask.
That's your problem.
But I'm saying it happens, but I don't ask.
That's what I'm saying.
I just kind of like get in position.
He just he wants
throws it back.
He wants the girl to
the butt with his
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
Bro. Look, I can't be giving away game for free. All right, look, listen. If
show
you
us
would
the
like,
method
right
here.
If you would like me to drop the method, you can subscribe to our Patreon. But no, truly, like I
People
really
trying to look for a Patreon. It doesn't exist.
frantically check with the description.
The hacking chicken.
No, it's crazy though because like I think in the times where I have engaged in that activity with someone, it's always like I'm not gonna land in and be like, can I please be Little Spoon? No, bro. Like,
you don't have to say it like that.
No. Okay, well, how would you expect a man who was begging to be Little Spoon?
No,
to ask?
okay, well, if you're
just
begging,
be like,
that's
babe, hold me.
Yeah,
that's
literally
good.
just be like, hey, what about I be Little Spoon this time? Literally just be normal about
No,
it.
I like the approach. Like, can I please be
Can
I please be Little Spoon?
Oh gosh.
One says.
Wait, we're gonna date someone.
Ways.
Oh my gosh.
It's like I don't even ask. Like it's just literally like if we're like cuddling or something and I'm Big Spoon, I just like turn around. I'm just dramatic with it. I'm like, and like I turn around and I like press up to them and they're like, "What do you want? Like what do you?" And I'm just like,
To be spoon.
you know what it is. You know what it is.
You just struggle with communication, obviously.
No,
Definitely.
He's like, read my mind. Read my mind.
I feel like I can see you getting mad at a girl doing that, but you
But it's a
just
joke when I
admitting
do.
that you. Oh, it's
It's
I'm
not
not
a
mad.
joke.
No, I'm not mad. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
we're not
actually
either.
mad. No, but y'all, because like I'm obviously like I turn around and I'm just like, and then I'm like, no, it's fine, nothing. Like I'm just like very dramatic with it. Like no, stop, it's fine. So I just like, because if you have to ask for it, you're just like, hey,
That's not really soft boy life. Or what'd you call it?
soft boy. Hey yo.
Wait,
What
is
is
this?
Some Diddy was on, bro. I don't
Oh,
know, man.
golly.
I don't know.
Disgusting. What is it called?
Soft guy.
Soft guy?
Oh,
Soft
soft
guy.
guy.
Is that like an actual internet movement? Like this
That's like
one?
an actual thing.
It's happening.
Yeah.
So what is
Donate
their
to the soft boy
philosophy?
front.
What is soft guy philosophy?
Soft guy philosophy is that men should be allowed to receive and be rewarded with the same sort of benefits that traditionally have only been given to women by men, right? So that's kind of like what it's like, well, why can't men be asked on a date? Or like, well, why can't men have their dinner paid for? Or like, why can't a girl buy a guy a drink at a club? Or like, what, like that kind of thing. That's kind of like theirs where it's like, wait, why is it just like we're putting in like time and money and effort and whatnot? And then I think it started off as a parody of Sprinkle Sprinkle, but then I think a lot of people
were like,
really
actually,
yeah.
he's cooking.
Yeah.
He's cooking.
Which I'm like, there are parts of that where I'm like, I would not be mad if a girl wanted to buy me a drink.
I think outside of like core responsibilities, there's nothing wrong with that. Like if the guy's doing what he needs to do, like in terms of providing, like there's nothing wrong with the occasional pay for dinner or occasional buy a drink or big spoon or whatever it is. But I thought that soft guy life was more like the guy wants to essentially be fully taken care of and expects to go 50-50 with someone.
Oh, I didn't know it was 50-50.
I thought
it was 0-100.
I thought it was more like it's like you
just
were
give me
giving
fundamental rights.
Like maybe it's like associated, but there's some people a part of it. They're like where they say like no, why do I have to pay for everything? Why can't it just be 50-50?
Yeah. So the TikTok creators that like subscribe to the soft guy era, soft guy movement, like they talk about like how women do stuff for them all the time, not like and like they don't talk about the other side of them doing things for women. It's just more of like, this is why, like, because if you let them do it, they will. You know that thing. And I was like, like that's what
I think the thing with the girls and like why we do that. Most girls, I feel like, will do that naturally. Like they do. Like if the guy doesn't do it, like we want to buy them drinks. Like we will ask them on a date if we like really really like them. Like that stuff. Like I think we naturally already do that. Typically, and this might be controversial, but I feel like for guys, they only do that when they really, really like a girl. And they won't just do it for like any girl.
Like buy them a drink?
Not like buy them a drink.
I don't feel like
not buy them a drink, but
buy
like
guys a drink very often.
Not like I've seen girls like be like, oh, let me buy you a drink. Like
I think our friend group is very different.
Yeah.
I think
friends is
outside
very
of our
different,
friend group, most girls would not buy a guy a drink.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like
they bought me shots before, but I've never had someone just be like, drink. You know?
What you want?
Yeah.
Christian wants to be able to sit at a bar and then have the bartender be like, "Oh, this is for you from that girl over there,
yeah,
from 6'1" Susie,
6'1"
Susie," and then he'd be like,
and then
"Please be my big spoon tonight."
He wants the bouncers to be girls, and then just be like, nah, you can go in for free. The girls have to pay.
Yeah.
No, I don't even want the girls to have to pay. I just think if you want to throw some cheap in a circle on a Friday night, like, see, this is why capitalism sucks. Because like now you're charging us to do that. Like that's
Wait,
crazy.
you're the one throwing the cheek, or?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think everyone.
That's what
everyone
I'm
Just
saying.
one cheek.
Oh, one cheek.
Like,
One cheek.
Give him a little side cheek.
Yeah, like, you know.
show the camera.
Yeah.
On the
Demonstrate.
Patreon.
No,
On our
I'm saying.
Patreon.
For our Patreon.
Explicit.
Yeah.
Just have him do it and then put a banner that's
Censored.
Oh man.
I don't know. So are you in support of like the 50-50?
I'm not even like in support of it. I'm like, I think it makes sense for a lot of people's situations, but like I'm not like everyone should be 50-50. Personally, like I would love to the best of my ability be able to provide everything that I can for my family, but I also know realistically times be tough sometimes. And so it's like, yo, we might need to combine a little bit of our resources, you know, and tackle this thing called life together, because
we were talking about that the other day. We were like, if we didn't have both of our incomes, we'd be living, like if we just lived on yours,
harder.
it'd be
Oh,
very
yeah.
We had this conversation the other, like, when was it? Like a week or two ago. He was like, do you want me to pay for everything? Like, but just a heads up, like, our life is gonna dramatically change.
I was saying like,
and I was like, nah. I'm gonna keep making my bag because I want to keep my apartment.
Yeah, I was like, would you rather I pay for everything, but we have to live in like a really small studio again, and like we can't buy stuff.
Yeah,
We have $200 total for like groceries the entire month.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we did live like that at one point in time.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
But yeah, I think it's like if a guy's gonna provide, it's like you kind of have to meet them where they're at that point. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think I like Dajin's idea, and I think that's kind of how our like marriage has gone. Like when we first got together, like I don't feel like I had my taxi cab light on. Like I wasn't thinking that we were gonna get married. Not you and me, but I mean like I didn't think that I was like, okay, now I'm ready to get married.
Yeah.
Like let's turn on the light.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like it kind of worked and it just clicked, and then we just went down that road. And at that time, like I'm still not making a lot of money, but I wasn't making that much back then. And yeah, I think like you saw that over time, like I had the potential, and I was really focused on like
why are you looking at me for like,
I don't know, it's like
you're
personal.
like, yes,
Tell me.
yes.
Tell them. Back it up.
I have potential. Tell them.
Yeah, tell them I have potential.
Tell them about the Bible video.
No. No, but I feel like she at least acknowledged that I was trying to be the provider at some point.
Yeah.
But I think especially like we live in Austin.
Yeah.
One income, you know.
Income
When we first
Yeah.
met, I was 23 or 22, maybe.
You're a young baby.
22.
I'm older
Yeah,
than him.
23. And yeah, it's hard to support two people at 23. So I think that's what's important. Like, if you want to, if you're striving to like get to that point, I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we
you don't
talked about
necessarily
it,
have
and
to
we
be there.
said that eventually that's what I would want. Like, I would want to get to a place where I don't have to work. I work because I want to. And like right now, I'm in a fortunate position where I love my job and I am very passionate about it. So like I do want to work, but I would love to like get to a point where it's like we don't need my income. It's like very supplementary. And so that way, because me personally, like whenever we get to the place where we do have kids, like we talked about like me not working so that I can, you know, give the kids full attention and so they can actually be smart and I can teach them because I don't trust anybody else and I want my kids to be smart.
You're gonna homeschool?
Well, just like the first couple of years, but they need those social skills. So no, like they're gonna go. They're gonna go to schools. I know a lot of people are against that and are doing homeschool now. But to me personally, like I want you to be out in the real world and learn your lessons. Like, and I'm gonna be there every step of the way. But like, no, I'm not gonna keep you at home under my like umbrella, shielding you from everything. And then you get out there and you don't know how to. It's like the birds, like
they think about the nest.
Yeah, they're like they teach them and they take care of them for a while, and then eventually the big bird gotta fly and they gotta fly on their own.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, I don't know. I digress, but we met and we talked about those things and what we wanted and what we wanted to get to, and I knew that like. Basically those values I said were instilled in him, and I knew that he also wanted to get to that place, so I knew we were headed the same direction. So I was like, it's fine, like let's both hustle for right now, and we're both working like hella hours and putting in the work, and that's fine for now, and we're both okay with it for now. It's just like that's the season that we're in right now.
And I think I was just listening to y'all. I think how society has kind of gotten to like the two extremes where it's like no, I want to be totally taken care of, or I want to be totally taken care of. I think it's like what Christian was saying about the spiritual foundation. I think that's important because if you guys are both aligned on that, then you kind of know your roles a little bit from that. Like I'm gonna get preachy, but not too much, not too much. But I'm just gonna say, like, the Bible talks about how men are supposed to be self-sacrificing, like they're supposed to, if the time comes, they need to take the bullet for the wife, like they need to sacrifice in all that they do.
That, bro.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Dinner.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I also think it's important to remember, like, just being self-sacrificial in our love for everybody. Like,
exactly.
if we're just constantly like, I deserve to be taken care of because of who I am, like, there's no love in that.
Exactly.
And I don't know. I could never see, like, that person being wife material. Like, I could never see that where it's like, I just deserve everything because, and I'm not going to give anything in return. So,
that's sugar baby.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I have seen those, like, extremes of, like, I've definitely seen those people that do expect that. Yeah. And, like, that, I think, is just, like, kind of, like, I mean, with my friend group and, like, our friends, it's pretty rare to see that. But I think it's, like, I really agree with what Christian said with, like, ideally, I think it's, like, you love each other so much and you both want to give. And, like, that is, like, a good balance. I still think, like, I probably would want them to be a little bit more, like, financially or something. Yeah. But just because, like, why not? Not why not, but, like, I think it's the same thing
like
we talked about. Yeah, like, it's just, it shows them that they're, like, they want to take care of me and stuff. But it's, like, I feel like a lot of things that, like, we do or, like, girls do, and, like, they're nurturing and stuff, it's, like, it's hard to, like, calculate that.
It is.
Or, like, it's hard to, like, give a number to that. Yeah. And so, like, you can't just be like, oh, they're paying more, so they're giving more.
Definitely.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But I do have one more question.
Hit us.
So I don't know if you guys have seen those TikToks where people are like, I forgot the sound, but it's like, the one where people are like, I remember when I did this.
I lost my mind.
When I lost my mind.
And then some crazy.
So basically, the premise of that is like, have you ever done anything crazy or like lied or like, what's the craziest thing you've done to get someone of the opposite sex's attention?
Oh,
I know yours.
Mine?
Yeah.
What did I do? Oh boy, you tell my story.
Now
I want to know. Tell me.
You can cut it out.
Wait, let me whisper.
Oh my goodness.
That was pretty crazy.
Okay. All right. So this is kind of tagging on our last question, but when we first met, I wanted to come across a little bit more affluent, as I probably was, as I definitely was.
What did you do?
So every weekend. Okay. This was my courtship process, right? Saturday, we would get brunch.
Okay.
Out somewhere.
Yeah.
Wouldn't cook it.
Okay.
Saturday night, we'd go to a date night spot. Get a nice dinner.
Yeah.
Right? Sunday, we got church. Right after that, we get brunch.
No, bro.
Sunday night, we're not cooking. We gotta get some dinner. So every weekend,
4 meals.
Every weekend, I would spend a good chunk of change on both of our meals.
Yeah.
And I got into a little bit of debt over this situation. Mainly because, like, I wanted to be that provider, but I also didn't care to check my budget. I didn't care to check my pocketbook. And I just was swiping the card, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do, but
how many weeks
I didn't have it like that.
Yeah, how long?
That was like, I think that was probably 5 or 6 months or something.
My boy was running up like shit.
But,
my God.
And she thought that I had saved a lot of money. Like, that's how I was able to do it.
Yeah.
Little did she know.
I had previously came from a relationship where in that situation, he paid for everything. Yeah. I didn't ask for that. Like, he was just in that standing. So I was just kind of used to that. But I never once, like, expected that from him or said that to him. And I would always tell him, I was like, I feel like we're spending too much money, or I feel like we should do this instead. And his response would always be, I'm rich! And I'm
Not
like,
genuinely, not
yes,
genuinely.
it would.
No, it was jokingly.
He's like, I'm rich!
I was jokingly,
Oh, no.
jokingly
And
saying
I was
it.
just like, maybe we should just do this. And he's like, nah, let's eat out. Let me take care
Dude,
of
I
you.
could so see you just being like, don't worry, I'm rich.
Yes! And he'd be like, let me take care of you,
What was
baby.
the breaking point? Because
I found out
Oh, you
and then let him a new one. And I was like,
No,
are you
that wasn't the
serious?
breaking point.
you would have been
How
doing
did
it to
you
this
find out?
day.
Why? 'Cause
No.
he told me.
You would have had 5 credit cards by now, bro. That's crazy.
No, I don't know what it was. I don't think you had a.
Yes.
How did you find out?
Because I was like, at that time, I was like really into my, I mean, I still kind of am, maybe not as much, but
Budget.
I was like really into like my budget.
Okay, that's it.
I was
That's it.
like
That's it.
counting like the numbers down, and I was like, what's your budget?
That's it.
And I was
We
like,
were.
do you do a budget? Like, we
Yeah.
were having the finances talk, and I was like, do
As
you
should.
do a budget? Like, how do you calculate things? Like, how do you set money aside for, like, savings, groceries, etc., blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then he was like, I don't have a budget. And
Yeah.
then we,
I mean,
like,
I think
came
more
to
than
the
anything,
conversation.
this was like, you get your first job and you're like, oh, I have unlimited money, you
Yeah.
know? So
Certainly
I
not.
did not have the proper personal finance habits in place.
Yeah.
I literally didn't budget until she was like, we should probably budget. And then when we did, I remember looking at the restaurants and dining section on
We
mint.com.
calculated
Bro.
everything, and you
It
had
was
spent,
At least 1,000
Yeah.
per month
I
just
swear,
on eating
600
out.
of that
Yeah.
was Starbucks.
No, another 400 was.
Oh
Starbucks.
my gosh, don't even
400.
remind me. This was such a
400
stressful
calories.
time in
It's
my
honestly
life.
Yeah.
so hard, especially I feel like at our age, because first of all, everything's freaking expensive. But when
Yeah.
you're spending it, it doesn't seem that expensive.
No.
Why
Yeah, I
am
know.
broke this week?
Whoa.
Bro, I was
Bro.
like, I swear, I was like, I'm gonna use my debit card so that I won't like use my credit card. So like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, then I won't be spending money I don't have. Bro,
Nope.
I went
Still
to
did it.
Aloe. This was I admit this was stupid. Okay,
Why did
but
you
I went
go
to
knowing
Aloe.
you were trying not to?
Well, because I was like, I'm getting paid Monday. I did so well, and then
Wanna
I was
go
like,
to Aloe?
Monday.
Yeah.
yeah, bro. And you know, Aloe, it's pretty expensive, but everything is exactly like $70 something, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, I'm gonna round down in my head, or I'm just bad at math, I guess. But I'm like, okay, if I buy 3 things, dude, that should add up
Yeah.
so
quick.
fast.
Yeah.
And it's hard because
It's
it's
like
like
$200+.
70. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not 100 though. So it's like I was like, oh, it's like not 100. So
If it's
not gonna
under
be
100,
300.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Bro, it was bad. And then
Okay.
I looked at it and I was like, $64. And I was like,
I have
But
a
I was-
question for you based off of that. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so curious. So, you know how you said you want the man to provide, like,
yeah.
you want them to make more than you? Like, eventually, would you probably stop working, like, at a certain point, like, when you have kids or anything like that, or are you going to keep working?
Honestly, I cannot imagine how we would able to be afford. Oh, what?
Ooh.
I cannot imagine how we would ever be able to afford anything on one income.
Yeah.
But I think I would take the first couple of years or like a year or 2 off because
And then go
I
back.
cannot. After taking care of my cousin's like 1-year-old kid for like a day, I was like, I don't understand how y'all are working right now.
Yeah, me
I was
neither.
like, I don't understand. Like, I was tailing that kid because she
Yeah.
was like, she was trying to walk, but she couldn't walk, so she kept falling, and I would have to like follow her around, and I'm like, how do you go to the bathroom? Like, how? Like, I cannot even process how you guys even work from home. So I think like I would have to take a couple years off
Okay.
because I could not imagine that at all. I was exhausted after 8 hours, and I was like, I don't know.
So then, so what I was going to ask.
Wait, are we going to address that Christian just disappeared?
Christian
had to leave, but we're
Christian
gonna keep
also got eaten by an ostrich.
We actually yeah, he went to go find Sammy. I mean, he went
Cut
to
that out.
He cut it right at the Sammy.
Okay. Wait, you're cutting it.
He went to go find Sam.
Let's just not address it.
No, we need to address it.
Christian went to go find Sam, and apparently there was another ostrich.
And it ate him.
But
All right.
I think they'll spit him out later.
Yeah. All right. So my follow-up question was, having said that, you want to take a couple years off, would you expect during that time, as like your husband takes on full like financial responsibility of you, the kids, everything, would you also expect them to take on like all of your expenses? Because, okay, so here's an example. So like, some people were saying that like, oh, as a provider, it's my job to like provide for like the house, the basics, like groceries, all of that stuff. But it's not my job to provide for like your spending of going to buy new clothes or makeup and all that stuff. And it's like, the other perspective of that, which is the one that I agree with, but don't go too crazy, is that if you're taking on like my expenses and you're being the full provider of the family, if I'm giving up my income that I used to like get stuff like makeup to make myself feel confident, or outfits that you like and make myself feel confident as well, like you're responsible for taking on that as well, because I'm no longer working, which originally paid for those things. Or are you on the flip of, no, like, I just need my basics, like, he's already taken care of enough?
I would probably we would have to budget, and I would probably just ask for a certain number that I can't go over. Because honestly, like, even if he's my husband, I'm gonna feel uncomfortable, like
blowing crazy amounts of money.
like blowing crazy amounts of money, or not knowing, like, even if he's like my husband, let's say, is really nice and wants to do that, I don't want him to feel like he can't say no to me, like, and I don't want to like always be thinking like, oh, am I spending too much, or like, is it okay if I have a number, I'm gonna reach that max every single time, like.
But you have to think about it too, like normally, like on your income right now, you get your eyelashes done, you get good waxing.
Well, I would just talk to him about it. Like, I would be like, here are my things that like I absolutely don't want to get rid of, but also I feel like if we had dual income for that long, and if we're at the time where we have kids, I mean, hopefully by that time, like, it's a little bit like doubled, Yeah. Like, I would assume that it's gonna be doubled. Like, my cousins I feel like talking to my cousins are like, we use one person's full income for just spending and one full income for savings. Like, that's an ideal situation, I feel like.
Yeah.
To have like that. So I'm like, if you have a number that you like set for me, that like I'm not getting rid of my lashes. I can't. Like, I'm not, like, things like nails and stuff, like, I would be reasonable about like, oh, I'm not gonna spend like $500 at Aloe, like, if I don't need it. But if I'm not gonna wear torn shorts, like, I feel like, and also I'm buying that stuff now so that it'll last.
Right.
I'm investing in the quality right now. But I'm trying to honestly buy more quality clothes, because I noticed that I like if I buy really shitty clothes, it gets torn up and I buy more of it. But so I'm investing. But I do feel like for that I would need a number, because I would be like uncomfortable not knowing. And like I'm saying, I would lose track if I don't have like a specific number. I'd be like, oh, it's 77. I'm gonna buy 4 of them, and it's 300 because I'm bad at math. Wait, 700.
I think that's pretty close, right? Yeah, that's pretty good.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like if I have that number and I know it's like a gift card. Maybe I'll have them buy me a gift card. Honestly, maybe that's the way to do it. Sometimes, like, you get
a gift card.
My dad gives my mom an allowance.
Yeah, like I feel like that. Like,
it's weird calling it an allowance, but yeah.
That's like the best way, I feel like. Just to be like straightforward, and I think that's like the most important thing. You just have to be like very honest and be like, I'm not paying for that, or be like, that way you like, I'm not giving up my lashes, and like my gym memberships, I'm not.
Yeah, but if you think about it, that's a lot. Like,
yeah,
already.
It is a lot, but also like, I need that.
Yeah.
And I think at that age, I would hope that like we would be able to afford it. But like, I'm not gonna be unreasonable if we don't. Like, maybe I won't need my gym membership because maybe I won't have time, or like I probably don't need both.
Nah,
like,
you gotta.
Yeah, like I need at least one.
I'm gonna keep you in the
yeah,
gym.
like I think like at that point too, it's also, I would hope that my husband would want me to not like lose myself and like not stop going to the gym, and like
that's
not
how
do
I
the
feel
things that
about
would
it.
be, like not getting my lashes or something. Like I would hope that they would like want that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. I wouldn't want to go like too crazy. Like obviously I know like you know, with my income I'm able to we're investing into I'm investing right now into our house and also our future because in my IRA and all that stuff. But anyways, like I wouldn't go above and beyond like overage of like go shopping all the time, blah blah blah. But there are certain things that like I wouldn't want to like budge on. Like I was saying, you know, like the makeup or like getting certain outfits like every once in a while. And I'm not saying going crazy and going to like all these luxury brands and getting super expensive outfits, but like buying a dress here and there just because like it makes you like feel confident. And I would personally want that to be like factored in to the budget if we were to get to that stage. But yeah, I was just curious because that was like a new debate that was coming up. It was like, what is actually considered like, okay, this is providing, and what is like asking for too much? Because some girls who are like, no, I want to get my nails done, I want to get my toes done, I want to get waxed, I want to get my hair done, and all this stuff every single month, and then it turns out to be like $1,500 a month in just of like upkeep or things that they want, and that's not even including like their shopping. Like,
I feel like I am too like, even if it was my husband, I'd be too like not scared, but like I'd feel bad like asking for that much. So like I literally just need a number. And honestly, I feel like, and like I've seen like you and I do this with Ben too, where it's like if you want something, like we'll just be like, come on, Ben, like here's our reasoning for this, and then like you can like if it makes sense, like it's a valid argument. You gonna swipe that card?
You gonna
I have a propensity. I have been known to swipe that card.
Like when I go Taco Bell.
Yeah, Taco. Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, that is we tangented.
We did. But
We
that was a
have
good
like
combo.
so
That's
many
fine.
other questions and like topics to ask, like things to talk on this topic. So I feel like we definitely need a part 2.
Yeah. Any closing arguments? Because I feel like we just said arguments.
Yeah.
From a guy's perspective.
Yeah.
Christian, take it away. Let's see. I think I agree with a lot of the stuff that you were saying. Like, I think having a number is fair because if you were on your own and you had your own income, like, hopefully you would also be budgeting and have your own amount, like your own number that you would max out at. So I think if you're going to provide, like, you're going to provide. Like, the idea is that your partner wouldn't need to also go work to sustain their like life, like their normal life. So they should be able to do all of the normal stuff. Of course, that's not like to excess. Like, as long as it's within a number, then I think that's fair. So I think we're on the same page. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I really wanted someone who had like a completely different view. I think it's hard because we're all friends and we all think alike and we all have like very similar mindsets. But I'm so curious
Christian's definitely
to like
different.
have somebody. No, but even Christian is still like a little bit aligned with like how we think.
No, he's completely.
I honestly think from hearing how everybody was talking, I think I'm at this point probably the most extreme to one side. I'm like, as a guy, like, you better provide. Like, that's your job. And like, yeah, for me, I think fun things and like my personal enjoyment comes second to my role. So I hold myself, I think, to that standard of like, that should be my main focus. And until I'm able to achieve that and I can provide, then I can maybe relax a little bit and like, I don't know, hang out a bit more, play video games or something like that. But yeah, but I think that's
that makes sense.
my prime focus, you know.
All right. Well, the original question was the craziest thing we've done, but we have we're already at an hour and 10 minutes. So if
Part
you
2.
want to hear the other crazy stories, we will make a part 2 on the next episode.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
This has been.
You say.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
wait.
somebody's got to alley-oop
you
me.
have to say the double Dutch. Okay,
Okay,
start over.
do it
Go.
again. Do it again. Start
This
over.
has been
Double Dutch. Double Dutch.
Bye.
Yo. That was good. We killed that. We killed that. Don't leave me hanging, bitch.
Oh.